Good evening. Tonight we read in Proverbs 29 and Leviticus 12. So you in Proverbs right now, or you want to go to Leviticus?
Well, in Leviticus 12, it's all about having a man-child. And for a female, a girl, they called her a maid child. Did you notice that? Yeah. But I was fortunate to have a beautiful male, and it says in verse 2, "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days." And then it was 2 weeks for a maid child. But what I really thought about was a man child, and that connotation is pretty negative in 2021. That means that a male who never grew up, so he is like stuck in adolescence in his 20s, 30s, and 40s. And we know that that is not something that is favorable, but we want all of our young people to progress to adulthood like Jesus was able to develop in wisdom, stature, and favor with man and himself and with God. So we want our children to develop. But as far as circumcision, I remember having Timotheus, oh my goodness, almost 20 years ago. And the question was, I can't remember because I think I was just, knocked out. But I know now they ask the question, do you want to have your child circumcised? Back before in the 70s, the question was assumed, like, when are you going to have your male child circumcised? But now, because of rights and privileges, and they want children to be able to make the decision a little more, then they're like, whether that's the case or not, are you going to have your son circumcised? And we know that it is spiritual implications. This is commanded as far as in Jewish traditions and the Muslim traditions, but it was also because it physically would prevent certain infections like urinary tract infections and certain type of cancers and other type of consequences. So it's just a blessing to have male children and to be able to train them up in the way of the Lord so that they can become real men. All right, let's hear from a real young man. What did you get from Leviticus 12 or Proverbs 29?
In Leviticus, just like being clean.
That's right.
And sometimes, like you were saying, they want to give the child like those liberties, but that may be the case nowadays. But there will be times where, like, it doesn't even have to be a kid, but someone you know what's best for them. But sometimes you just have to let them have a stinky peenie sometimes, and that's metaphorical. Metaphorically speaking, of course, like the child, maybe like, I don't want my liberties violated or something, but you as a parent know what's best for them. That's, you should be circumcised, and that can be transferred like to in other ways. Like, I know you shouldn't go to this party or whatever, but you might have to learn yourself, whatever. So, you can't always do stuff with people, especially right now. So just give good advice.
Give advice and direction and wisdom. And that has something to do with chapter 29 of Proverbs, the rod. Now we know we can't beat them down, especially when they're almost 20 years old, but we can withhold, certain privileges, right? So that they can feel the sting of some of their decisions. Well, that's the rod, and reproof is correction. Give wisdom. But when someone is left, a child is left to their own way, it bringeth the mother to shame. So I know I always tell him, look, I'll always be your mother, even when you're 50 years old and I might be in glory. But a mother never stops being a mother to a daughter, a maiden, or a man child. She wants the best for them. And she wants them to have a vision for their life. And it says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So God has a plan for each one of our children, and it's up to us to guide them in the way that they should go. Train them, and they will not depart. What do you have to say about that? Proverbs 29. Yeah. Just know that God has plans to prosper and to give them a hope and an expected end, not of harm, but of success. Have a wonderful evening. Blessing the Lord and staying clean and purifying ourselves so that He will be glorified. Good night.